The old man that lives at the north, his name is Wazia. At a certain time of the year, which usually happens around the end of January and the beginning of February, and maybe even into March. Sometimes this old man would go crazy because it's so cold. He would lose his mind. So he would come outside and he'd come out naked. Yeah, because he's nuts. That cold made him crazy. Yeah, so he goes outside and this pack of wolves surrounds him, and they're going to try to kill him. They're going to eat him, and so he sees that. But this is a very powerful man in our stories. Okay, um, his grandsons made the four directions, and they're grandfathers now too. West, north, west, north, east, and south in that order. Those are the four directions. His grandsons made those directions, and they're the ones that created the seasons. Yeah. So anyway, that it just goes to show you, how he's really a powerful guy. This is not God, okay? So right away, I know Christians want to say, "Oh, that must be God." No, it's not. His name is Wazia, and there's another thing is that the first this is a sub story, okay? The first humans were tricked to come on the earth, and at the same time, they were tricked by a man named Iktomi. This is a trickster. He um, he can present himself as a really nice guy and tell you how smart you are and you really have good ideas, and he's so fortunate to have found you for a friend. He's that kind of guy. Then when you're not looking, he puts a knife in your back. He's maybe people like that, yeah, ex-wives and so forth. Yeah, former best friends, you could say. Anyway, he tricked some people to come on the earth from underground, and but at the same time, he also made a covenant with, I should say, a pact with the wolves. The wolves were this was supposed to happen millions of years ago, but the wolves were starving. They couldn't find any food. The food was always escaping from them, so they were starving. Their wolf pups were dying because they were starving, and they were really in a bad condition. So Iktomi said to them, I know a food that really tastes good, and when you drink its blood, it's gonna taste so good you're gonna go crazy, and you're gonna want more and more and more. So the wolf said, "Yeah, right. You're Iktomi. We shouldn't believe you. You're gonna trick us." And Iktomi says, "No, I said I promise, but if I keep my end of the bargain, you have to be my allies forever," he says. And so the wolves back down, but then they look at their pups and they're all dying. Pretty soon there's going to be no more wolves. So they decide to take up Iktomi's offer. So Iktomi says, "Okay, you go to this one place. There's a lot of trees there, but in the center of the trees is a wide open space. Yeah, today this is called Preshla in the Black Hills. It's in the center. It's like a prairies in the middle of the mountains. Yeah, and the prairies really high. That's this. This is the area Iktomi is talking about. He told the wolves to gather in the woods all around that area. It's been a circle. He said, "I'm going to bring your food there," he said. "And when I give the word, you can go in and have a feast." So the wolves are saying, "Are you okay? You better be you know." The wolves say, "If this doesn't happen, and we don't have a pact with you," and Iktomi say, "Okay, that's the deal." So Iktomi runs back to the humans and he says, "Okay, I got a really good place for you guys to live, and so come with me." So he takes them to the same area as Preshla. He takes them to this area. It's wide open. And there's woods all around. So he says, anytime you need, food and stuff, you just go into the woods and you find it. It's all there. So they think, wow, this guy's really a nice guy. Yeah, the humans are saying, this guy's a really cool guy. Thanks for helping us. So Iktomi says, no problem. So then he goes, he leaves the group and then he signals to the wolves, there's your feast. So the wolves come in, there's thousands of wolves coming from all sides, and they start to massacre the humans. They take the children and the women first. And they're murdering them. They're just ripping them to shreds and ripping them to pieces. And see, when you do something that's really highly emotional, you're leaving an energy in that location. So if it's something really mean, like a murder or a rape, there's an unhealthy energy that stays there in that location. Yeah? So here we have thousands and thousands of women and children being slaughtered, and men too. They're being slaughtered by the wolves. And the wolves are drinking their blood, and they say, geez, Iktomi's right. This tastes good. And it drives them into a frenzy. Now, when you do something, whatever it is, remember, there's an energy that's in your communication. Whatever communication is not just things you say; it's things that you do as well, and it becomes a part of you. Yeah, when you communicate. So if you're really a nice person, you're generous and stuff, that energy goes out, but it's also inside you too. People feed it when you come around. They say, hey, that guy's a pretty cool guy. Yeah, they just know it. But it works the other way too, where if you're really unhealthy and you do a lot of killing and stuff like that, people are going to feel that too. And so these wolves, they're slaughtering these humans because they never experienced this before. They don't know how to defend themselves. All they can do is run. They have no weapons. Yeah, so as they're running, they're being slaughtered. And so this is giving a lot of energy in the area. The wolves are leaving a lot of murderous, unhealthy energy in this area, and it's also in their hair. It goes into their hide. Yeah, so this energy in killing all these people, it's in their hides. And so when the wolves have babies, that energy is still there from that massacre, from that human massacre in Preshla. This is why wolves are considered a natural enemy to humans in the Lakota way. So for this reason, there is a teaching that says little children and women who are pregnant are not supposed to touch anything that comes from a wolf, because of that energy in their hair can make them sick because of what happened. See, this is generational. This is something the wolves pass on every generation, and it's still there. And this is why they have a natural hunger for humans and human blood, a thirst for human blood. These are the enemies. This comes from that story. Yeah? So, now that you know that part, now let's go back to Wazia. Okay? As I said, Wazia goes crazy because it's so cold. He goes nuts. He's numb. His mind goes, dokcha, you could say, really somehow. He goes outside, and this pack of wolves surrounds him. But they don't realize this is Wazia. The wolves think this is just an old man. He's an easy kill. As the wolves circle him, they surround him, they circle him, and they start to jump at him and attack. And as each one lunges at him, he grabs it and breaks its neck and grabs its mouth and pulls it completely off. Yeah, the lower jaw, just pulls it off, and he kills them all. And some of them are injured. He breaks their legs, and they're laying there. They can't run. Yeah. So while they're alive, he skins the hides off of them, and they're screaming in pain, and he lets them die like that. So then he gets all these wolf furs, and he puts them on himself. He puts them for pants. He makes a pants and a jacket and a cap, completely made of wolf fur. Now he's coming south. Yeah, he's coming south to kill. Remember, he's crazy. He's lost his mind. So he's coming south. As he gets to a certain point, the winds from his grandson, who lives in the south, start to come up. Yeah, the southern direction is blowing his winds to the north. And as Wazia gets to a certain point, he feels this warmth, and it starts to warm his body. It starts to warm his heart. Yeah, and then he wakes up like from this craziness. Yeah, like he's coming to, and he's like, gee. He looks at himself and he's like, what the? And he rips off all these wolf furs that he made, for pants and the jacket and the cap. He's like, what the heck am I doing? So he takes off all this stuff and he burns it up in the fire. Then he makes a sweat lodge ceremony and he goes in there and he does it to purify himself, to get all that energy off from that wolf fur. Yeah, and also what he did to the wolves. Yeah, he gets all that. He gets rid of that energy, so he's cleansed from it. Okay. Then he comes out, and then he makes a apology. Yeah, and he makes an apology to the buffalo people, and he says, he's only going to take what he needs, but he's going to use every part of the buffalo, and he apologizes and he makes skin offerings. Yeah, he cuts parts of his skin, he puts it in the ground as offering, and then he goes and he kills some buffalo, and he processes it. Yeah, he processes the meat. He makes things out of the buffalo hides, the bones. He makes into toys and things you can use, and the stomachs are going to be used for to make soup. And he gives thanks to the buffalo people. And then he apologizes and he says every part is going to be used, and it's going to be used to feed the people. He said none of this is mine. He says, yeah. So the buffalo people they accept his apology. Then he proceeds further south. So he comes to the people. He goes from village to village, and he gives these things that he made. Yeah, and he goes to all the little kids, and he's made toys out of the bones. So he gives toys to these little kids, and this is happening just before April, okay, around that time period. March, April time period is when this is happening, okay? So the kids are like all happy, so he gives everybody hugs, and he blesses all the women who are going to have babies that spring, yeah, they're pregnant. He blesses all these women so that their children will be born healthy and strong, and he sings songs for the kids so they dance, and he does this from community to community. Then he goes back up north. That's a good year, he says, and he goes back up north to his home. Now that happens, like I said, around spring equinox. Yeah, this is when that happens.